Hi everyone. Today, what we'll do is we'll create microservice, and through API gateway, we will try to collaborate two microservices together. Very simple example. We'll take a student microservice and then the course microservice, and then through API gateway, probably with Eureka server or something, we are going to collaborate both, and then check with one particular endpoint whether we are able to access both. So we will have inter-service communications also. Let me just show you here. So we will have student service. We'll have one more microservice, which is course. So the entity would be like student ID, student name, student fees, and course ID, which will be interdependent here. For course service, it will be course ID, course name, and course description if you want. And we're going to attach some port numbers. So for now, I'm going to give this one. You can give any port number. Currently, what I'm thinking is in case if I go ahead and give somewhere around 8081 for like student service or the course service, or 8082, vice versa, that would be fine. So in this case, what I'll do is here I'll give 8082 based on whichever port you're comfortable with. For course, because I'll be creating course first. So I'll go ahead with 8081, and probably my API gateway will be at 8085. Okay. So these two will be interconnecting with the API gateway. As in when I do the project, I'll be explaining you the entire details. Okay. For now, what we'll do is we'll create a project. We'll try to create student service separately and then the course service separately. Then we'll try to integrate it with the API gateway, where we need to also install one more microservice, which is like Eureka server, okay, where that will be running and it will help you to create one endpoint. We need to know a little bit basics of how to create a MVC project before we start with this. Also, we need to have an idea about the controllers, APIs, and all the stuff. So hopefully you have done the background study, and this is an example. Once you are comfortable with all of those, and then we are going to get into microservice in it. So probably we'll start with the very basic one. Okay. So we'll start now. So first we are going to take the course service. I'm going to keep this as we'll keep Java 21 itself. In dependencies, we'll go for web as usual, and logbook. We'll also have MySQL. H2 server also you can use. For now, I'm using MySQL and JPA. Once this is done, I'm going to create a package. Probably I'll go ahead with demo. I'm going to keep it here. Similar to this, I'm going to create a student service as well. So I'll just download this, paste it here. Now just go into the folder. So let me just share the folder structure. So in this case, I'm going to extract this one here. Also student service. Close it down. So all these things I'm going to keep it as backup zips, just in case if you need. So currently, I'm going to go ahead with the post service. Okay, I'll open this one. So what we are going to do is we are going to open the project from desktop, demo, post service. Okay. So let it load. What we are going to design is first we'll start with few of the folders, which is your entity, controllers, model, and all the stuff. We'll create those folders. We'll put in few details. So currently under the source, once it loads up, so here we are going to create few folders. As usual, we need to have some packages, entity, controller, repository. So in which we are going to go ahead with entity. I'm going to create a course. So we'll give course ID, course name, and course description, where course ID will be your ID that is generated. We'll use Lombok in order to get some of the pre-populated data. So initially you can go ahead with giving entity, and you can use getters and setters, or directly you can go ahead with data. I'll just go with getter, setter, no args, and all args constructor. So we can have course ID, which is long, and then course name that you can give it a C name. And also we will have description, where we will have the course description in general. So here we are going to have private, C name, and private string C description. And since it will make sure that we have this ID as our primary key. We'll have annotations ID, and we will also have, we are going to give the strategy as identity. So here it will be strategy equal to generation type dot identity. So currently entity is done. Once this is done, we have used our JPA repository also, if you remember. So what we are going to do, we are going to create one class, and we will name it as course repository. This will be interface. Okay. And this will be extending JPA repository, in which we have to pass which is the entity which we want. And ID is of type long. So just import it. So we have our repository up and running. The next thing that we need to do is controller. So for course controller, what we are going to do is we are going to give an endpoint, which is nothing but slash course or courses. So we'll go into the controller, we'll give a class, we'll name it as course controller. Okay. So here, first of all, we are going to use REST API. So REST controller, so that you need not have a response body again pre-written. We'll have endpoint starting with the root slash courses or something. So request mapping. Here you can use slash courses. Once this is done, um, we can we are going to inject few things later on with repository and stuff, right? So we need to have required ask constructor so that we need not write the constructor again and then inject. So that should not happen. That's why we're going to keep we'll use final because we are not going to change it. We'll take an object of course repository because through which we are going to add the course or list the course or get particular course by ID and so on. So we can take a course repository, one particular object. Mm, Once we have this, we will, in order to add some data to the database, we need to use post mapping. So post mapping. So for this one, we are going to have, once we add a particular course, we will return one object of course. So we'll give public course. You can give any name. I'll give it as add course. So for this, what you need to do is you need to import the JSON object. Basically, you're going to take that as a post parameter. So in the request body, you're going to take course. You can also use a DTO here, but I'm just simply using entity. So then we are going to return. You'll take the course repository object that you have created. And basically what we are trying to do is save because we have this post method, save of course. Okay. So currently what we did is we took an object from the, if you're using Postman or something, you're going to place the object with course ID, course name, and description. So we take that particular object and we save it. For that, we are using our JPA repository, which is coming from this one. And once it is done, you're going to return that particular saved object. Okay. So this is for post mapping. Now, in case if I want to get list of all the objects that I have saved, then I can go for get mapping. Now in this, I'm going to return the objects, like there might be multiple entries of the courses. Obviously, when we try to add few of the records, there will be multiple entries in the table. It's as good as writing select star from table course. So here what we are going to do, we will return because it is multiple values we are going to return. So we are going to use list of what? Course. Okay. And then we are going to give a name for this function, probably get all courses. Just import this. So when you are getting all the entries, all you need to do is you need to use the find all function. Only when it is by ID you're trying to find out, at that point of time you need to give a specific like find by ID and so on. So here we are returning everything. Hence return course repository, the object that you have injected here, dot find all. So whatever you're getting, this will be translated into list of courses and then it is going to project back onto your Postman or whichever um, plugin you have in order to get those details. Okay. So now the last one I'm going to give, like you can have multiple methods, but right now I'm just interested in showing you majorly how the microservices work. So I'll just have get by ID slash, you need to pass ID based on the course ID if we are going to map. Then you're going to send the ID and you will get only one particular course if there is. If it is not there, then we will try to return an exception or something. For that, this ID will be passed as a path variable. Like when you are passing, when you're trying to write a particular URL, in the URL itself, I'm going to pass one particular ID. Hence, uh, how you have taken the request body, right? That will become your path variable. So you're going to return one course object. We need to give optional and all, but we'll go a little bit crude to this one. By ID, you're going to have at the rate path variable, and you're going to have the variable similar to that of the ID. So if you see the ID was long. So here you're going to give long ID. Now, last time when you returned all the courses, you had basically um, returned the course repository dot find all. But this time you're going to give return, and you're going to um, take the course repository object dot find by ID. You're going to pass the ID which you have taken. ID. Um, it can also be accompanied by, if you didn't find, then you can throw some kind of exception. So lambda function, you're going to throw a new runtime exception or something. Okay. Where you can say that course with particular ID which you're trying to find, we did not get it. So whenever you're giving, here we can write course with course not found with ID equal to, and just concatenate that ID. That's it. Okay. So we are done with the controller part. Next, what we are going to do is we are trying to um, do the changes with respect to our resources, where we are trying to create one particular table, and then we will map that table from MySQL to this one, because when we were creating this project we had taken a dependency on MySQL connector as well. So we'll go to MySQL, and you're going to run this one. That is create DB, course DB. Just cross check if you have this course DB available. Okay, do this much. We'll come down, and in the resources, right, we have the application properties, but this time what we are going to do, we are going to write one mm, YAML file in order to have all the configuration. So what I'll do here is I'm going to create a file. I'll name it as application dot YAML. Hit enter. Here we need to have server. You need to have the port number and stuff like that. But currently, if you see in the application properties, the application name is core service, right? We'll just check out few of the changes that we need to do in this one, because we have created one course underscore DB, correct, in our MySQL. So with respect to that, we need to configure a few things. So I'll close everything and I'll just open application YAML. So here, if you notice, when I was explaining in the whiteboard, at that point of time, I had given 8081 for the course. You can give any particular port. For now, I'm just going to give, because it is easy for me to remember, 8081. By default, in 8088 it will start, but still, I'll take this is a Spring Boot application. Data source, I'll keep it as, right now you're using the URL of JDBC connector with respect to MySQL. So the URL will be JDBC. With respect to MySQL, usually it will be something like this: MySQL colon slash. We'll start with localhost. Now, in my current system, because I use Docker and stuff, 3306 was already taken. So in mine, I have 3307. For you, maybe you will have the localhost at 3306 as a default port. So based on that, you connect. Okay. So course underscore DB was my this one. Okay, this was my DB. So the same thing, I'm going to keep it here. Now the next thing is you need to provide the username and password. For me, both the thing is root. Very not so secure password. So we have the username, we have the root. So I'm using JPA. Okay. And in Hibernate, you can use DDL. Anytime you do any kind of entity updates and all, it will automatically happen. Auto. It will not recreate though, it will update. Okay. So this much I'm going to keep it in. Now, let me run the application. So started the course application, right? What we'll do, we'll open the Postman. So I don't know if you're able to see the Postman though. Okay. So 8081, I have courses, right? So if I give the post method, this is the post method, and then I give a CNAME, and then I have a description. Now, if I click on send, okay, I got one particular course ID. If I give .NET microservice, just giving some random thing, then I'll hit enter. Okay, we got two. So the same thing, if I'm going to go by get method. Okay. So here, I'm going to go with get. You'll be getting list of all the things. Now we are getting this by where did it go? So here, if you see the controller, in the controller, we had given this get all courses. So we got it. Now get course by ID. See the same thing. We have 1 and 2. Then the next one, we're going to give here /1 and then hit enter. So we are getting 1, 2, get thing as well. 3 is not there, by the way. So for that, you're getting the error. So currently, because I didn't handle it, it is giving you 500 server error. Later on, we'll check into this one. But for now, we have created one particular microservice. Then we'll move on to the student microservice. Okay. So let me so I'll just remove the student service, which we had unzipped before, and I'm going to keep it here. Okay. And then I'm going to stop this. We'll open the project. This is desktop, demo, student service, select folder. I hope I'm recording this. Okay, it is updating. So even here, we'll go ahead and follow the same method. That is, we already have all the necessary requirements loaded onto the thing. And here we are going to create folders. That is entity. And we have controller. Then we had repository. Okay. Now, as usual, we'll start with the entity. So here we are going to take it as student entity. So how we did with the courses, right? In the same way, we are going to take ID name fees, and we will have course ID as well, because there should be some interdependency between two microservices, right? Like one student can be enrolled to one course, or multiple students can be enrolled to a course which is already existing. We will do the same. Before that, you can have the annotations. So you have entity, you have getter, you have setter, you have no args, you have all args. Okay. Then I have, let us say, private, long. Here also we are going to take ID. I think in course we had taken it as CID. I'm going to make it as SID. And then private string S name. Then private string, not string. Probably we will keep it as double piece. And private. In the course table, if you have used long, here also it should be long. Okay. Then as usual, we'll give the annotation of @ID, @generated value. We're going to take strategy again. Identity. Okay. This is done with the student. Then as usual in the repository, we're going to take one interface. Hit enter. And this will be extends from JPA repository, where we are going to take student, comma, long, import it. It's done. Again, we are going to take a student controller. Here the endpoints will start from students. So first, as usual, REST controller. You will go ahead with the request mapping. So request mapping, you can take it as slash students. You also had required arcs, right? Because you need to do some kind of dependency injections on them. So you would need this. Now here, as usual, you had this post student, and also you had um, get students and get all the students. So all the stuff we will keep. There is something which will connect between this construct, sorry, this controller and the student controller, but we'll come to that a little bit later. For now, we'll just check whether, as we added the add student list of the students and then get the ID of a particular student, whether those things will work fine. Okay. So first of all, we need to inject student repository. Then we have post mapping. Same way as we had done before for the course, we will have a student will be returned once it is posted. So here we can give it as add student, and you were taking this one from response body, because again we need to pass the entire JSON thing. Request body. You're going that time you are supplying course. Here you are supplying student. Okay. Then You were returning the course object there. Here you are going to return the student object that you have created, but that will be coming from the student repository. So student repository, the function that will allow you to add this element to the database is dot save, and you're going to save the student. Now, how you had this get mapping, where we had to return list of courses. Here we are returning list of students. Okay. And what was I supposed to write? Okay. Get all students. Basically, we are going to return student repository dot find all as usual. In the same way, by ID also we can find get mapping ID. I always have a fear of whether I'm recording everything or not. Get student by ID. Okay. Since in the path itself we are supplying the variable at the rate path variable. Since the ID is of long, I'm going to keep it as ID. And here you'll give find by ID. And I'm going to pass this ID here. Dot throw. You can have runtime exception. Student does not exist by this ID. Here it should not be this. We are going to return student, single student, right? Okay, so this is done. I think we have to write the resources as we had done in our previous case. So I'll write application dot YAML. Why didn't you write in properties? We can, but I'm just showing you this way. So server, if you remember in the previous case, I think we had given it as, oh, I don't have it here. In the previous case, we had given it as 8081. So in this case, what we are going to do for the student, we are going to keep it as 8082 because the API gateway, we are going to give it as 8085. Okay. So for server, then port will be 8082. Then you're going to give what kind of project is this? It is Spring. What is the data source? You're going to provide URL. I told you before for the URL, usually it will be JDBC colon MySQL colon localhost, all the stuff. Your port number, if it is 3306, you use 3306. But if it is 3307, because if it had already been taken by Docker or something, then use 3307 because in my case it is. And also you have to go to your MySQL, and what you have to do is you have to run the, I didn't share, I think, right? I hope you're able to see this. So we're going to create one database called as student database. Okay. I had already created, I guess. That's why it's giving me this error. But for you, if you have created it now, then you will not be getting this error. You'll be getting here on the left hand side student DB. Okay. So here, after the localhost, you are going to navigate to your particular database. Okay. What was that? Student DB. Okay. So you have your JDBC connector, MySQL, localhost. Here 3306 if you're using 3306 default one. And here it is student underscore db. Username, password. This is done. Then you might be using JPA, Hibernate. And what kind of update you want to give? Any time, any kind of creation happens and all the stuff, then I'm going to update it. Like if I create multiple entities or so, I'm going to update it. So this much once it is done, I think probably all the stuff that we need is over, and then we will just run this. I don't know if I have to given postman. So this is 8082. Okay. Started. Same thing that you did for this one. Post method, get method. Okay. I'm just going to take this one, put it here. Instead of courses, it will be students. Instead of this, it will be post, body, raw, JSON. And I have to give, what do I have to give? Sname, fees, CID. CID, I'm going to give it as 1, which is already present in my courses table. Okay. We'll run this. What happened? 8081 I gave, right? This should be 8082. I've got it. Then I'll give Sandhya. I'll make it as 9500. I'll give course ID 2. Then hit enter. I get this as well. I'll copy the same. And I'll come to the next one. Paste it here. I want to get all the students. So Shilpa and Sandhya has to be listed. Again, this should be students. I get it. I'll come to the next one. Students/1. Hit enter. So 1 Shilpa, then 2 Sandhya. We're getting all of this. Okay. Now next one is putting this into a microservice and checking whether there it is happening fine or no. So all this while what we did was we actually created one particular project separately student and separate courses. Now we are going to accompany these two into one particular um, in one microservice. Okay. We will name it as student underscore course or something. We'll come back to the content here. Okay, so here what I'm going to do, I'm going to stop this. I'll create one project. Okay, I'll name it as student underscore course underscore microservice. Okay, and then this will be the same in advanced settings. Keep it as Should I do anything else? I don't think so. We'll create this window, probably new window, because I need the other things. Actually, I don't need that. Let's see. Okay. So here, so you have something like this. Okay. Currently main.java and stuff. I'm just going to make sure that I'll close everything. I'll just right click on this new module. And here I'm going to keep it as course service. Okay. Mm, Rest everything I'm going to keep it same and click on create. This is for core service. Okay. Now inside the core service, there is this source folder. I'm going to delete the source folder. What should I do next? I should go to the folder where I have my project. So if you notice, this is the core service. I'll go to core service. I'll copy this SRC folder from core service. I'm going to paste it here. Okay. Once it is pasted, we have all this files, folder structure coming into picture, which is fine. In the current module, right? This is in my microservice. Here, I want to paste the dependencies. What I'll do, I'll go back. I'll open this one with the why am I taking this much time? Visual Studio Code. So you will notice this thing coming up. What I'll do is from that file, only the dependency part. I'm going to take this, copy this, and paste it here inside the module. Okay. Then what is the next step? Here we have this one, right? The parent one. I'm going to copy this, come here, not to the course service pom.xml, but for the student underscore course underscore microservice here. It has a main POM file. I'll come here where you have all your module which is added as a core service and stuff. Here I'm going to add this one. Later on I may tend to change this. For now I'll keep it as it is. Now just load all your dependencies, all your Maven dependencies, and see if there is any error. There is no error. Then here inside the microservice, if you run this, we have kept the same one, by the way, 8081 itself, right? So we'll check if it is running fine. It started. Thankfully, not so painful. We'll come here. We'll take this microservices -1, this one -1 or something. Then click on send. Already we had added 2, right? So this becomes 3. Come here, check for this. Third one got added. Your 3. Now it should give you that third one, which is fine. Okay. Now in the same way, what you have to do, stop this. Right click on this, go to module, make it as student service, and then click on create. Remove all these ones. Okay, so right now you have the student service. I'll just close this core service so that you don't get confused. Now there is this source folder inside the student service. I'm going to, as usual, delete this. Click OK. And I think I had kept my student service thing on the previous project. Okay, I'm going to close this. Now I'm going to go to the folder, come back to demo, go to the student service, copy this source folder, come back, paste it here, click OK. So it gets pasted. In the pom.xml, as usual, we have to go to this one. I think we had, if you notice, both the projects had the same kind of dependency, so there will be no problem in this. I'm going to take the dependencies, copy this, and then paste it here. You're not going to make any changes to the main one. That is all cool. So what we'll do is we will run this file, student application. Maven, load it again. Okay. All the errors are gone. So now if you can run this. Did I run it? Yes, it is parsing. Okay. So once it runs, go to the Postman and check your 8082 student. So I'm going to give Adi. CID2. Already two records are added, by the way. So here you're getting it as third record. Get, run everything. Third record will be on. This one. Take 3 and check. This should be on. Okay. All this is fine then. Now what we are going to do is I'll stop this. We need to create one more microservice here. Okay. Let me come back to that one.